How you going, everyone? Welcome along to another video. Today, for those of you who don't know me, by the way, my name is Mike. I like to make thumbnails and graphics and get way too excited about YouTube data and information. I make graphics and thumbnails for Botgrinder, who is a FPV drone pilot, content creator, and today we're going to look at some stuff I made for a concept called 28 grams, which was a micro whoop skate video style video, like a freestyle video with a skateboarding video feel, sort of Y2K kind of skateboarding vibes. The screen ratio was that old school kind of style. It was something I was pretty excited about because that was the sort of era of skateboarding I grew up through. And I thought it was a cool concept for a video. So what it became was a focus around a logo, really. And how that started for me was where all sort of ideas tend to creep up on me, which is just in the shower. Like I'll always problem solve or find an idea in the shower. And this one sort of came to me. I think the thought process was, and I can't remember, it's just a very, very sort of logo design basics. If you think of an old simple image of a skateboard side on, you can tell what that is. The image of a racing quad, the X with the props on the back, or a 5-inch, you can tell what that is. And I thought, well, maybe that's where we need to start, and we need to think about what it is that makes a whoop identifiable. And essentially, it's those 4 circles, isn't it? It's these 4 circles here, and that's where I started with this concept. I began with just black circles, and that looked a little bit Mickey Mouse. It was just a little bit Mickey Mouse, I reckon, was just the plain black. So I put those circles around it to give it a bit more detail. And I started on this first version just sort of mucking around with 28. I really like this sort of stamped, aged font. I thought that was quite fitting for the subject matter. You know, it's rough, and that's what I think of when I think of watching micro whoops. You're usually looking at some analog DVR, analog video, so it's rough and ready. And that's what these things are as well. They're kind of rough. You chuck them around. They're fragile, yes, because they're light, but they're also rough. They take a bit of a beating because of the prop guards and everything on them and their weight. They don't tend to smash themselves to bits. What am I up to here as well? This is something I struggled with, which was what to do in the middle, because if I whip these away for a second, you will see that just leaving the 4 things on their own looked kind of goofy right? I was just looking at those 4 things and thinking, well, that looks like a 4-pack of beer straight down. That doesn't look like a thing. It doesn't look like one unified piece of equipment. It doesn't look like a vehicle. So I whacked a little square in the middle, and I was like, we're getting there. We're getting there with that. It still wasn't perfect. It wasn't hitting what I wanted. So moving on from that, I was just like, well, is it the 28's too small? And we've got this Mickey Mouse thing going on because there's just not enough weight carrying the whole thing. So I played with the size of that. I played with really pulling it up, really making that pop. And then I did the same. Then I dropped the square from the middle because it's like, well, now I can kind of see that weird square that's holding it all together, and I'm not sure I'm liking that. So I pulled that out, and then we ended up here, and I was definitely not happy about that because it's starting to not look like I'd kind of envisioned it anymore. I wasn't exactly sure what the 28 was going to look like what form that was going to take in my imagination. All I knew was that I wanted these 4 rotors with the prop guards around. So at that point, I sort of started thinking, well, let's chuck some rotors in it, shall we? And see what we find. And what we have here is a potential issue because, you know, people might be inclined to give me shit because these look like 5-inch rotors. They don't really look like Whoop rotors, but, you know, they were the ones that looked most pleasing to my eye. I think I tried some quad ones and there wasn't any. I'm not an illustrator, or you know, so I didn't put these together myself. These were an element that was available to me, and I don't hate them. I quite like the tri prop. I thought that looked kind of cool. So that was the kind of process, was starting with those circles, making them look a bit more interesting, then just dicking around with this 28 for a while, not really sure what I'm up to. And then getting the props. And then I was looking back at all this and I just wasn't vibing on the monochrome, the black and white. I thought, come on now, a splash of color might be a good idea, hey? And that's at that point, that's when the sort of red paint smear kind of entered things. And I thought, well, there we go. I think that's what I'm after. I think that's it. To be honest. That was pretty much what I was looking for. That you'll notice the square is gone, the black square is gone from the middle now behind there because it wasn't necessary anymore. At this point, there was a little bit of conflict going on in my head about the props. I tried it with and without the props. I think without the props, again, you start to lose what it is. It doesn't speak enough as to what the thing is, arguably. And at this point as well, I started. Actually, it's funny, this one, because it wasn't one of those ones where I tried 100 things with the background. I just found the crumpled paper, and because I had the stamp vibe off of this font, which is, by the way, in Canva anyway, it is rustic printed, whatever that is, rustic printed stamp with an outline, a very, very thin outline. And that with the paper, with this sort of like natural paper crumpled look, I was pretty happy with that. I thought that was working for me. But at this point, it doesn't say 28 grams. So in terms of a descriptive, it's still not quite there. And I wanted to take it to that point of it being fully descriptive. So what I found was our little font here, Ryotic, which is a vibe, Ryotic. And I also chucked I can't remember what we used in the final version, whether it was the black outline or the red outline. I don't hate the red outline, but I feel like we might have gone with the black one in the end. Hold on a minute. Let's go direct to source, shall we? And just have a look here. 29 grams. What we used in the editor was the black one. That's the one we used. Okay, so this is the one we went for in the end. I say we. This is the one Botgrinder chose to use in the end, with the thumbnail, which we'll come on to talk to the thumbnail part of this in a minute. Right now, it's just about, I wanted to put the logo together. I was in two minds about this one because I wanted to do something original like this, or I was going to do a full rip of a 411 video magazine, which, if you're not familiar with, was a sort of iconic VHS video magazine from late 90s, early 2000s. I don't know when it wrapped up, actually. It might have been 2009, 2012, something like that. But anyway, 411 was this iconic magazine. It had this really, really recognizable logo among skaters anyway. I wasn't sure whether it would be a good idea to go so skate specific. Also, I wasn't sure how I could get 28 grams into it. It wasn't a clean, you know, it would have been really challenging to get 28 grams into here because there's just too many characters. It would have been a bit of a push. And I didn't go down this route in the end because it seemed a little bit too niche, maybe. But this is where we ended up. So we've got the little slightly satanic sideways crosses here. They are just crucifixes on their side. So not full Satan, but you know, it seemed to fit the vibe with that sort of paint, that sort of scuffed, scratched, sketched, dry, paintbrushed sort of look to them as well. So that is where we ended up. And then the thumbnail. What happened with the thumbnail was Botgrinder threw something up that I didn't hate, which was like a draft of something, and it had all the main characters from the video. And I thought, actually, I quite like that. And I think at this point we knew that the New York video was doing really well. Because if we have a look at Botgrinder's videos, filter them by most popular. This one right here, Flying Drones in New York City, it's going to be his most popular video very soon. It's still performing still going 3 views per hour. It's still getting views, which is really interesting. That's 6 months ago now, and that's still moving, which is nice for a vlog, you know? So here's the thing about this thumbnail, though. This was before I started doing thumbnails. I think it was the last one that I didn't do was the Flying Drones in New York City one, and it just happened to go really well, which was quite scary when I was just about to start. And we for a while we looked at it and we couldn't really work out why it was doing well. Knowing what I know now and having done a bit more thinking about it, I do think I know why it works. The reason it works. Well, here's the reason I think it works. I can't remember off the top of my head what the click-through is on this one, but it's really good. This depth of field is great. These are both great images. Like, look how nice this image of FPV Vegan is, right? Oh, I have that exact same canopy. Well, that's funny. Mine's in green too. Gosh, besties. But look how good that photo is, right? It's super clear. This photo of Botgrinder is not bad. It has some really nice lighting on it, but the resolution's really good on both of those with the slightly blurred out NYC in the background. This is a great thumbnail. Think about your rule of thirds as well. You would have your line coming down here. The focal points are around this sort of square here. So our main two subjects are in there. And what else? Apart from technicalities, what else is here apart from Botgrinder's face? Someone else's face is what's here. And I really think as well, like this video did well because of some technicalities as well, because it was shared. There were other people in it with big audiences who shared it. So it did well because of that. That's awesome. But it also had really good click-through, which tells me that the thumbnail also worked. So the reason I'm talking about that one is that we tried to replicate that with these pics, but these pics are all dog shit. They are hard to see. They're all kind of small. I think this is the one I ripped from his video, and then I got the individuals. Yeah, here we go. So this is the one that I put together with them individually. I went and recut them, but they're still not ideal. I was also playing with the idea of using some text up here around the logo as well. So we got like volume 1 up here. We didn't know it was going to be volume 1 or whatever. I also got some text here, Banana Cannoli Bot, Vegan Sky High. I thought that would be cute to have their names on it. And just a little thin outline on there as well. Oh, this one had the text down the bottom. Didn't use those ones in the end. I wonder if it was, which one was it that was used in the end? Botgrinder 28 grams. What the one that we used in the end? Yeah, it was that one. So it did have a particularly shitty picture of everyone. Like it's not great. Not that caused it to not work. That thing that on its own wouldn't have killed it. And it's not like it didn't work. What's it sitting on? 17K views for 2 months ago. That's pretty good for back then. Why we were still looking for 40K as well back then. It did okay. Looking back at it now, what does this thumbnail do? Like let's think about what hasn't worked with this thumbnail. So this is this is the one that went up in the end. The other ones with the optimized images weren't going to do any different, I don't think. apart from maybe this one that sort of implies that people are going to be in it, but looking at it smaller, it's not exactly popping, is it? It's just like meh. I think the major issue I have with this thumbnail, looking back now, is that it doesn't really tell any emotional story. There's no story, and that's disappointing because it is a storytelling video. You know, it tells you the story. It's the story of these three mates flying in New York City. You know, that's great. That's obviously worked. No, sorry, what am I talking about? It tells the story of these five mates coming together as a squad to make this video, and that's not been put across. And actually, I still don't know exactly how we could have done this better, apart from maybe if we had like a big Botgrinder face with like a smaller peeling away of other people's faces. Let's just mock this up now. Hold on. I'm going to duplicate this and just get rid of that and get rid of that. I'll chuck the logo out of the way just now, but let's think, right? If we had, let's just play pretend, everyone. Pretend these images are stunning, right? Pretend these are the most high res images that you've ever seen. And then let's make believe, okay? So if we'd done like a big high res face sort of squad video here, I think now you're gonna you're gonna have to flip. It was a really weird image, that when it had such a, he was sort of bending over or something, I don't know. But if we had, let's say we had really good images of all this crew, and we could do something a bit more squadish, you know, like now we're starting to cook. Now I'm starting to be like, damn, who are these guys? I want to know what they're up to. Like, what's this adventure? We're starting to get some goodies here. I think that these two would probably have to switch around. You're going right on the end, and I think you're gonna go here, but you're gonna slip behind, right? See what I'm cooking? Is this a vibe? I think arguably there's a vibe emerging, but you see what I'm going for, right? Rather than minimizing the people and the humans, taking inspiration from the New York video and going, well, the people are the story, then oh, jump scare. The people are the story. I think something like that would have been, and then fuck knows what I would have done with the logo. Was that a group? It is interesting. Who knows what I would have done with the logo at this point, but it would have just scooched somewhere because the logo's not important, unfortunately. Remember with the, so what, the other day when I was talking about the gun drone, and I said we focused too much on the product. Well, it happened again here. We focused too much on the product. We made the product this idea of this brand, this logo, this new thing, 28 grams, which I think is kind of what Botgrinder was going for. It was meant to be like a movement. Like, he's still hopeful that there will be more videos in this 28 grams kind of vein. Like, I've still got plans. I would love to do one here in New Zealand, you know, just go out and rip my, what have I got? The little 6 Mobile, chuck that around and just have some fun, try and not get into trouble. But I think as well, see, now that we're really cooking with this, honestly, the logo can get out of here. The background can get out of here. We would maybe go for some sort of like a city skyline, maybe like a city skyline behind these guys or something, you know? Some kind of way of telling the story of these pilots out against the world, you know, just flying, just doing their thing. 28 grams, yo, just out there doing it. I don't know. That's another option we could have maybe gone for, and I think might have. Sorry, Cannoli, I didn't mean to hide you there. It might have gone a little better had we really focused in on the humans rather than the sort of brand we started to create. So yeah, that's 28 grams logo anyway. I really like the logo. I'm really happy with that. I am not a logo designer by any means. That is not my my area of expertise whatsoever. But yeah, now we're connecting with humans, which I think might have been the trick. Might have been the trick with this one, but it didn't bomb. It stuck around 10 or 11 for a while, and Bot was quite disappointed with that as well, because it was like, again, it was one of the ones that had taken a lot of effort and he talked about for a while, like the gun drone. Where are we? 20 minutes. Okay, so that was 28 grams. Happy with the logo. Would have liked to have seen the video do better, but I think the thumbnail wasn't the best for that. In the time we had to get it together before it came out, I think getting these high res images was going to be a challenge. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe will I hassle Botgrinder to do it? I might hassle him. If you're watching this, soz about it. I'm probably going to hassle you for high res images of these guys so we can redo this. Speaking of redoing things, I redid the. It hasn't gone out yet, but I had another look at the gun drone thumbnail because it was garbage, and I had a concept for just Botgrinder getting shot, basically. So I got him to take some stupid photos just before the stream this evening, and what it eventually ended up in was I just focused down on this idea. I was like, I'm sure this idea is a good one. He's right there in the center with the sights on his face. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory. And then I just messed around with, I really sort of played with the color wheel and looked at the colors in the background. And then, we go out to this view and we have a look and we have a think, well, what's popping? What's happening here? And I think what I ended up with was this one, which has the sort of splats in the background, the paint drips. Anything more than that is getting too complex in the background, and anything white, this orange and white one, while it was cool with the sort of holes in it, I don't know what they are, arrow holes or whatever like that in this background, and the red was meh. With the blue, which is a nice contrast with the red, with the orange, it's not, I don't know why, but it's not doing it for me, and especially not with the green. So here's where we ended up. Essentially, long story short, here's where we ended up. And what I did was throw a bunch of titles at him as well. So we'd be thinking like titles along the lines of, I took this mod too far, taking things too far. I completed drone modding. I don't know what that means. That's shit. I don't know. I made my drone too dangerous. My most dangerous experiment, world's most dangerous drone, shit like that, just to tell a little bit of the story of this chaotic. It's a gel blaster on a drone. It's absolutely irresponsible, but it's also kind of hilarious. And I think that's what this thumbnail might be saying. It's, this looks very irresponsible, but it looks like it might be banter as well, So who knows? We'll see. If I'm not sure if that one's been changed or not. It is very, very late in New York. Is he in New York? No, he's in Philly. That's where he is. I'm in New Zealand, so it's weird. I only get to watch the stream on very rare occasions when my children aren't around at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which isn't that often. So yeah, I did get to watch today and just noodled around with that thumbnail, which was nice. That's the end of my cool story, everyone. That's the story of the 28 grams logo and thumbnail. Maybe I'll revisit that one. I feel like I should. And also the V3 gun drone thumbnail. Is it too late for that one? It might be. Is it too late for this one? It might be. But I want it to look good out there, I don't want to be looking back at thumbnails and going, that's cringe. I could do better with 5 minutes on that. Anyway, I'm gonna call it quits. If you want me to make thumbnails for you, you can email me at nicefpv@gmail.com, or you can find me at nice_fpv on Instagram, or in I'm on Discord. I'm on Botgrinder's Discord. Peace, everyone. Have a great one.